Prime Minister and CARICOM leaders tackle regional issues. Agriculture and Fisheries Ministry takes center stage as Minister responsible for information gives report on cabinet deliberations. And high hopes for Jamaica's team to the 20th Commonwealth Games. Hello, I'm Simone Wolf with Jamaica House Weekly. Prime Minister Portia Simpson Miller was on official business in the Antigua and Barbudan capital of St. John's last week, representing Jamaica's interests at the 35th Conference of CARICOM Heads of Government meeting. Between July 1 and 4, Mrs. Simpson Miller attended several high-level meetings, voicing the island's position on a range of matters, including the economy, climate change, health, and the administration of the regional grouping.
As we continue to discuss the single market and the economy, I think it is very important for us as heads and officials to meet here to discuss issues that impact in a serious way the lives of our people in our region.
Ahead of a business session, Mrs. Simpson Miller commended the government and people of Dominica on the country's decision to make the Caribbean Court of Justice, CCJ, their final court of appeal. She said Dominica's decision was an expression of confidence in the regional court. And as part of expanded cooperation between CARICOM and Spain, Mrs. Simpson Miller committed Jamaica to deepening relations with the European country. The Prime Minister said Spain had made significant contributions to Jamaica's economy, particularly through investments in tourism and health. Mrs. Simpson Miller also reaffirmed Jamaica's solidarity with Cuba. While discussing a strategic plan for CARICOM's growth, development, and collaboration among member states, Prime Minister Simpson Miller called for greater inclusion of the private sector. Mrs. Simpson Miller reasoned that in order to promote productivity within the region, the private sector had to be allowed to play a central role in research and development, innovation, information and communications technology, and entrepreneurship. Prime Minister Simpson Miller also called on CARICOM members to issue a clear statement on issues relating to small island developing states, climate change, and the post-2015 development agenda. The Prime Minister left Antigua and Barbuda assured that Jamaica's position in CARICOM remained strong and vital to the country's development. And back at the office, Minister with responsibility for information, Senator Sandra Faulkner, announced cabinet decisions to protect and better manage the fisheries sector. At last week's Jamaica House briefing, Senator Faulkner announced plans to introduce stiffer fines for breaches of the Fisheries Act and an interministerial team to oversee the management of the Pedro Keys. Senator Faulkner said Cabinet gave the go-ahead to increase all monetary penalties and custodial sentences under the Fishing Industry Act. This, she said, would help to curtail a number of problems facing the industry.
Currently, fines for breaches range from $20 to $5,000, with many paying scant regard to the provisions under the Act.
Meanwhile, Portfolio Minister Roger Clark will chair an interministerial committee to create a management regime for the Pedro Keys. The team was created to follow up on the findings of a socio-economic survey and carrying capacity study done on the Pedro, Northeast and Middle Keys. With the ministry allocating $34.5 million for the management of the Keys, the interministerial team will consider a number of concerns.
Issues of unlicensed fishers, the lack of adequate infrastructure, including human and solid waste management, and the generally deplorable conditions on the Keys have been among the problems affecting the fragile ecosystem.
Senator Faulkner also announced that a contract had been signed to install pump houses at 2 agri-parks. Cabinet approved a $72.9 million contract for the installation of pumps and pump houses at the Ebony Park and Spring Plain agri-parks. It was announced last week that the late Custos and Member of Parliament for Northeast Westmoreland, James Thompson, had been accorded an official funeral. It will be held this Wednesday at the St. George's Church in Savannah, Lamar, with interment at the Holy Trinity Church at Grange Hill, Westmoreland. In a statement, Prime Minister Simpson Miller said Jamaica had lost one of its most loyal public servants, as Thompson had provided yeoman service to the people and parish of Westmoreland. A 114-member team will represent Jamaica at the 20th staging of the Commonwealth Games to be held in Glasgow, Scotland between July 23 and August 3.
The team is the largest ever and arguably the strongest, and therefore our expectations and hopes are great.
Minister with responsibility for sport, Natalie Nita Headley, also congratulated the athletes as well as sports administrators who devote their skills in the national interest.
We are ready to march into Glasgow, strong, proud, carrying the flag of Jamaican land we love.
And Mrs. Nita Headley was on hand Thursday to launch the Badminton World Federation special pilot project, Shuttle Time.
With the introduction of this Shuttle Time program, I'm expecting a new level of excitement for badminton to be ignited at this time. I am confident also that this program will make badminton even more accessible to many more Jamaicans, young and old.
That's it for this week's edition of Jamaica House Weekly. Join us next time for the latest happenings coming out of the office of the Prime Minister.